Right, so we are going to be now talking about chapter six. This is going to be the last chapter before the area of study two SAC. This is going to be particularly focusing on business planning and corporate social responsibility. So we spoke about corporate social responsibility on the last video. This is now going to be considering it as part of your business planning. This is still all within your internal business environment where it is what your business can have full control over. So you can control the structure, the business model. It can control all of the different types of resources and sourcing for the business itself. And now it's going to be talking about the planning of the business. Um, Again, please have a look at the definitions so that you can access the different things that we speak about in this summary lecture. And you're looking at the Quizlets as well. When we talk about the overview of the business strategic planning, so the overview of the business planning, you start from the top, which is this top level, and then you work your way down. When you have your planning, it's critical for achieving business objectives and managing resources effectively. This right here, this sentence can be a one mark response as to why a business would want to plan for anything. You have the three levels of planning. The strategic is long-term goals, so what your business wants to do in a long-term horizon. Tactical planning are medium-term goals, so the 1 to 2 years of planning. And operational planning is operations, what you do on a day-to-day basis. So short-term operationals, what happens right here, right now. Tactical means what are we going to do this year or within the next 2 years? And strategic long term is what are we planning to do in the next 5 years or so? What are we going to do day to day? On linked to all of this is if you know where you're heading in terms of your vision, you can plan it and you can chunk it in a year by year basis, and then you can break it down even more in what you do day to day. So they should all link up together. What you do day to day contributes to what you do, what you can achieve in that year or the next 2 years, and what you achieve in the next 2 years or within that year, it's going to um, feed into what you want to achieve in that 5 year long term goal. So that's the purpose of the business planning. When you have your stages of planning, meaning what what you're going to be creating, how you're going to be doing something, these are the different stages of planning. So then you know what your strategic plan is, your tactical plan is, and your operational plan is. The first one is setting your objective. Establish your objective. What is it that you want? Next one is analyze your present situation. So, what is happening right now? You conduct a SWOT analysis to do something like that to assess, so to see what is happening internally and external to your business. Next, you're going to be developing and evaluating your plan, your alternatives. So, developing alternatives mean what are the different options that you can be doing to achieve your desired objectives. Then you're going to implement the plan. So, you're going to choose one of those objectives, or sorry, choose one of those options from here, and you're going to be implementing it. So, you're going to be doing the actual plan. Once you do the plan, you need to make sure that that is actually working. So the monitoring and reviewing means that you're going to be making sure that it's working. So then you can continue it if it's working, or you can make the changes if necessary. So an example that we could have done here actually is setting the objective. So what for myself would be fully transparent with you guys. My objectives were how could I prepare the year 10 business management students to do a year 11 subject. I analyzed the present situation. So what was actually happening? So I analyzed that you guys just went into year 10, so really just only finished year 9. So you had a whole 2 years worth of learning and maturity to try to squeeze into a short amount of time. There are lots of alternatives that we could have done. So the alternatives were the different plans that we had set out. I implemented it. So within week one until actually Head Start until week five, that's the plan that we set. And then I monitored and reviewed that. So I monitored it doing the activities that we did, monitored it with the assessment that you had, and also monitored and reviewed it based on the feedback. And we made changes where we needed to make those changes. So that's what it talks about with those 5 stages of planning. This right here is a SWOT analysis as a planning tool. Please make sure that you understand each one of these boxes or each one of these components. This right here, this is the internal section that happens. 2 seconds. Location change. I'm going to start again from here, but we have to make sure that you're looking at the SWOT analysis as a whole in general. And you need to remember all parts of it. So these first two up here, this is internal, what happens within the business and within the company. So what's the strength that the business has? And it's what is a weakness that the business has? These right here are the different examples of what um, the business can identify as part of their strengths and as part of their weaknesses. Now, the bottom two right here, they're both external to the business. What happens to the business? What are the opportunities that can occur that the business can take advantage of and try to use it to their planning? And the next part is the threats. What can happen to the business that they have to be aware of and can either be proactive of, or they can make a plan just in case it does happen or when it does happen. So the SW is internal to the business, and the OT from the SWOT analysis is the external. This is a business plan and why it's important. So if you need to define the business plan, this could be a one marker as well. The business plan outlines the objectives, the strategies, and the operations of the business. These are the different parts of the business plan that you would include as part of the information that you would give to investors or to give to crowdfunding. So if you want to, or you give to the bank, if you want to get some sources of finance, these right here, the business plan, you would give these out to the people who you would want to invest into your business. Or what you could do is this business plan right here. This is what you could be showing the management team, or you can also show your like your workers, so they know what they're going to be trying to achieve or trying to work towards in the long run. So the business plan, these are all of the different things that you would want to include. The benefits of it is it guides the decision making and keeps the business on track. So if you have the business plan, whatever decision making that you need to make on the tactical level or on the operational level, it's going to guide that decision making and it keeps the business on track. It also, right here, like I was speaking before, it helps secure financial resources from investors and banks. So if you show this to investors and banks, they say, yep, they have a good plan, let's invest into their business. Just try to understand what each one of these means. So, executive summary is a short summary, a short kind of not dot point. It's a short paragraph or two telling telling whoever's reading it what the business is about. The mission statement is what they are hoping to achieve as a business. The company background, so what is currently happening right now in their landscape. Product description, so what's the product that they make or the service as well. The marketing plan, meaning how are you going to do your advertising, how are you going to do your marketing, if you're going to include social media or if you're going to be doing print or TV, all those different things. Competitor analysis shows that you are looking outside of just your business, and then you're making sure that you are uh, making plans to either combat them or to make sure that their impact isn't as strong on your business. Sorry about that. We were speaking about the SWOT analysis just before. Operations is how you do your day to day, your financial planning, meaning your cash flow, your costs, and your timeline. What is it that you're trying to do in a certain amount of time? Last but not least, we are talking about the corporate social responsibility. So remember what this means, and of course, look at the Quizlet definition or the start of the slides here. CSR, so corporate social responsibility, involves businesses operating ethically and sustainably while contributing positively to society. So, ethically and sustainability. So, ethically, you're doing the right thing. Sustainably, you're going to be making sure that you're not being wasteful, and you. There's a example that I like to use with John West. What they like to do is they don't overfish their tuna when they farm it. If there are 100 tuna, they only farm, let's say, for example, 80 tuna. So the rest of that 20 tuna, they're able to grow some more tuna, basically. But you're not over over sourcing, or you're not over farming, and then contributing positively to society. That's a very subjective thing, but if you're trying to do right by society, then that's what CSR effectively is. So try to remember at least two of these things when you talk about CSR. These are the key things that um, answers would like to look for. When you talk about the environmental impact, you're reducing waste and less carbon footprint. So reducing waste meaning that you're not going to be having lots of toxic waste, for example, or you only use what you need. Carbon footprint is you're not overproducing. So big manufacturers, they're going to have a lot of carbon footprint. um, Community engagement means that you're going to be supporting local communities or communities that have a positive impact on society. Ethical sourcing means using sustainable and ethical suppliers. We spoke about it in the last chapter, where, for example, you have the blood diamonds, making sure that you don't have people who are slaves who are getting your diamonds, or a big example that we talk about is something like Shein or Temu, where they don't have very good working conditions for the people that are working in those companies. There is actually a very big, I think this was in the 90s now though, but Nike was accused of child labors for their kicks. So that would not be ethical sourcing right here. So that's the opposite of it. The benefit, so these are the key things that you need to understand with CSR, is the benefit is it enhances your brand reputation and customer loyalty. So if people perceive, so that's a key word there, if they perceive that you have good CSR, your reputation goes high. It's saying that, yep, you're doing a good thing. And it'll also increase your customer loyalty. So more people will want to come and loyalty, not loyalty. They will want to shop with you. It also attracts environmentally conscious people, consumers and investors. So if you have people who care about that kind of crap, that kind of thing, they are going to be investing into your business. The challenges, though, so this is the flip side. These are two big ones. It is pretty expensive to do these kind of sustainable things. It's much easier to have a low cost thing, but generally with the low cost options, they're not as sustainable and they're not as ethical, right? Because it is cheaper to have some child laborers, but it's not very ethical, right? But if you want to pay people fairly, and you're going to have good ethical sourcing and good CSR, it's more expensive to do something like that. And then the other thing as well is you're going to be called risk of greenwashing. Greenwashing means that people are going to be putting on their packages ethical, sustainable, and all that kind of stuff just for the sake of it. But if you get called out, then you are going to be called greenwashing, where you're only putting it in your labels and you're only marketing in that way for the sake of the perception, like I was talking about before, the perceiving. But you need to make sure that your claims need to be backed up. So these are the key things that you need to know with chapter 6. But the relevance of all of this is you have effective planning. So going from the strategic to the tactical to the operational. So the big vision to then the middle within the 1-2 years, and then your day-to-day operations, how you're going to run your company. That's what the planning is going to is involved. Sorry, that's what the planning is talking about. Then you need to make sure that you have the CSR, so the ethical practices. This is going to ensure that the business have they achieve their financial, so that's the planning side of things, and societal goals, so what is good for society. All right. So make sure that you're watching these videos here, making some notes, so then you have multiple exposures onto the concepts, and then we're going to have our assessment SAC 2 very, very soon. All right. Happy studying. Take care.